One night in 1983, a businessman in Agra was returning home in his car. He stopped the car outside his big bungalow and rang the horn. But despite ringing the horn 3-4 times, no one came out of the bungalow. Finally, he got out of the car and started moving towards the bungalow. And then suddenly, two people came to him running with a gun. And before Suresh could understand or do anything, a bullet went straight to Suresh's head and he died at that place. No one knew about the people who attacked Suresh Verma and his family. Accepted this accident with great difficulty, but then after 5 years of that incident, something happened that refreshed his old wounds because he met a 4-year-old boy who was telling himself about Suresh Verma. 10 December 1983, a boy was born in a poor family in Uttar Pradesh. His name was Singh, and everyone used to call him Titu. His family lived in a small village called Bar, about 13 kilometers from Agra. Out of 6 brothers and sisters, the smallest Titu was the beloved of all. But as soon as he turned 2 years old, he started talking weird things. This is not my house. You are my mother. You are not my father. My name is not Titu but Suresh, and I have a wife and a child. Now after hearing this, Titu's family got worried. Even Titu made fun of his parents' poverty. Because of poverty, Titu tells his family that he has a lot of money. He has a big house and a big car. But the question is, why was Titu talking such big things? And what is the secret behind this behavior? First of all, his family thought that Titu was making up stories, like most children do. But as he grew up, his behavior started to get even weirder. As he was 4 years old, Titu would almost insist on going to Agra from his father. But he would always ignore his father's words. And one day, without telling Titu, his father went to Agra for some work. When Titu came to know about this, he went crazy in anger. He made everything in the house go crazy and he started screaming and crying loudly. Then Titu went to Agra. When Titu's 13-year-old eldest brother Ashok tried to talk to him, Titu told him that he has a huge house in Agra and he wants to go there and meet his family. His brother was a little surprised to hear this, and then when his brother asked, Titu said that he wants a radio shop in Agra. Now, to find out the secret behind Titu's strange talk, Ashok decided to go to Agra. And after going there, he found out some things that after listening to him, he was very angry. After going that, he found out some things that after listening. Suresh's radio was written in a big letters on that shop. And it was the same place and the same name that was mentioned by his younger brother Titu. He went inside the shop and saw that a widow woman was running that shop. After talking to that woman for a while, Ashok came to know that her name was Uma Verma, and she was the widow of the owner of the shop, Suresh Verma, who had died about 5 years ago. While talking gradually, Ashok told Uma about his brother's strange behavior, and Uma became restless after listening to him. And many questions started coming to their minds. Is Titu Suresh? Has he came back with a rebirth? The next day after hearing all this, Uma went to meet Titu's village with her family. And as soon as Titu saw her, he ran and came to her. Now Titu noticed that Uma had come in a Maruti car. So he angrily looked at Suresh's mother and asked, "Where is my Fiat?" Actually, after the death of Suresh, he had sold that car. So how does this little boy find out about him? Titu met Suresh's parents with great love as soon as he grew up with Uma. He asked about his children. Now it was very difficult for Titu's family to accept all these things. The things that he thought were his child's childish behavior were now proving to be true. Now, Titu's story soon became a topic of discussion in his village. And as soon as he saw this news, it spread throughout the kingdom. Newspapers and radio stations were all over the place. People started talking about Titu. And soon this news reached researchers Antonia Mills, who was studying reincarnation of University of Delhi. Mills used to be the colleague of psychiatric professor Dr. Lance Stevenson. And at that time, Stevenson was very famous for his research on reincarnation. He had studied the case of Shanti Devi's rebirth in detail in the 1920s. And on the advice of Dr. Stevenson, Mills decided to study Titu Singh case. Now, to study Titu's case, Mills and his family went to Agra. Now, as soon as they entered Agra, Titu started remembering things from the past life even more. He told Titu the exact address of his house and shop, and when Titu went to Suresh, how he stood in the courtyard and pointed towards the tree. He told Uma that he had buried gold coins under that tree. Actually, Suresh Verma was a businessman. He also had many black businesses. He had obtained money and gold by deceit many times after digging near that tree. It was understood that Titu's words were absolutely true, and finally seeing this, Suresh's family also believed that Titu is their son. But is this reincarnation enough to prove rebirth? Antonia Mills was studying Titu's many things and actions in details. Now Suresh's family told Mills that Titu's nature is very angry man. Fights, bloodsheds were normally for him. And even in Titu's behavior, all these things were rising. One day, his family and Mills were passing through a market in Agra. They took bangles as soon as they were going to give him money. Titu stopped them. And he threatened the man with the bangles that Mills is this guest, and if he takes money from him, he will shoot him. Mills has also mentioned this incident in his research paper. And he says that Titu's similar behavior with Suresh strongly supports the theory of rebirth. Till now, Titu was going to take a different turn soon. Because one day Titu said something that spread this case like fire in the media. Titu said that the murder of Suresh was done by a man who was doing business with him. And the media raised this incident so much that Suresh's murder case was reopened. And for the first time, a 4-year-old child was given the chance to testify against the murder of his last life. This case was filed in Agra, and in the court, Titu reported the entire incident of the night of the Suresh death. He told that he was shot in the right part of his head and died, and after examining Suresh Verma post-mortem report, Titu's entire story proved to be true. After this, the research papers of Antonia Mills were also presented in the court, and in the papers there were reports of Titu's birthmark, which played a very important role in this case. On the right side of the Titu's head was a circular birthmark. This was the exact spot where Suresh was shot, on the upper part of the Titu's head. And Suresh's family says that this mark is similar to Suresh's birthmark. Dr. Lance Stevenson talked deeply about the connection between the rebirth and birthmarks in his research. He says that birthmarks are connected to injuries in our past lives. Now, in the case of Titu Singh, his birthmarks matched Suresh's bullet's wound. Even in the Hinduism, birthmarks are connected to injuries in our past lives. It is said that during the second birth, he takes some marks of our past lives with us, which are seen on our body as birthmarks. Finally, on the basis of all this evidence, the Agra court accepted the fact that Suresh was reborn and Suresh was born again.